Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, Umber Rays, and today we're going to be taking a look at something that's rather important for War of the Visions. War of the Visions has almost been out for an entire month now, and it's doing fine. Obviously some errors, some glitches, some problems, and some imbalances, but hey, no game is perfect when it comes out. Usually needs improvements, as well as quality of life stuff, and it's being worked on. So for you people waiting for Global, or you people playing JP, there's stuff in the works. But let's talk about a very important topic today: character development. Character development in the early days of War of the Visions is critical, because when you are playing this game, unless you are going to be spending like any gacha game, a veritable fortune, you're going to need to plan how you spend your resources. There are lots of things that divide characters up and determine how you should build a team, from things such as rarity to element to job types. All of these things are very important. Of course, it depends what you get out of the gacha, but there's a fair amount of gacha resources at the beginning of this game, and the rainbow rate is, well, for characters 2%. It should be said that you'll probably end up with a fair number of ultra rare characters after a short period of time, and you'll be wondering, hey, should I develop an entire team of ultra rare characters? And the answer is no. The answer is just simply no. In the future, it'll probably be more possible to do, but it should be noted that super rare or SSR characters, one tier below ultra rare characters, are actually very powerful, and some of them are great utility. Gunners in this game should never be underestimated, as well as archers. I remember in the early days, everybody thought that Fina in this game was absolute garbage, and then we found out about her faith, the fact that she is one of the only ways to raise faith permanently, and then Fina ended up being boosted, but now we are finding out that she's even better than that. With enough raising and proper care, she is actually a great character because archers have a tremendous range and can do a fair amount of damage. She also has good healing and other options. So yeah, early days of War of the Visions, a lot of impressions are turning out to be fairly inaccurate, and a lot of people are starting to run into walls of how much they can develop characters. What do I mean by walls? Well, here's the general rule of whether or not you should develop a character, and that is based around how many resources you are willing to get for the character. As of right now, I would say developing any team, at most you should be running 3 UR characters, and even that is pretty dangerous. 2 UR characters seems to be the sweet spot until more resources get into the game that free-to-players will need. SSR characters, maybe 2 of them, and maybe 1 SR character or a 3rd SSR character. The reason is because to develop any character to any good value in this game is basically this. You need to be able to awaken the character, and character awakening requires character shards, as well as these orbs. These orbs are based on rarity. You have rare ones, you have super rare ones, you have super rare ones, and then ultra rare. These are gotten by getting duplicates of either cards or characters, and they run out pretty fast. And as you are raising a character, the cost of them gets quite expensive, into the maximum 6-star level, costing a full 10, which is pretty crazy. It's actually pretty nuts as far as I can figure out. And not to mention that, you also need rainbow rocks, so there is a lot of resources that you would need. But as you can see, there are also specific elemental things, or stones, as well as flames. These are used to awaken characters up to a higher level, and these are specific to each element type. One of the reasons why early in the game, you do not want to develop 2 light characters, or should I say early days of this game, you do not want to develop 2 light characters, nor do you want to develop 2 dark characters or any multiple of any element, because these start coming in very short supply as soon as you hit the end of the story. As more story is added, it seems to be a big resource or a big source of this, as well as chocobo exploration, but it's slow. So if you're not spending money, this will be a brick wall, which is why it's good to diversify your team and pick different elements for awakening. And between multiple different classes of characters, or should I say rarities, that will help keep the number of ultra rare orbs you have available, as well as super rare or super rare. You probably won't develop a rare character, and definitely won't develop a normal character. As for limit breaking does require you to well, first of all, I should say it's a pretty essential thing for developing your characters. Why? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First of all, as you limit break a character, you get certain things: higher maximum job level, and more equipment spots too. And this is really important because to get the most out of any character, you need to get to job level 12. There is job level 13, 14, and 15, but from people I have talked to who have spent far and away more money, they have said that job level 13, 14, and 15 is just purely stats. It doesn't unlock anything for ability. And while it does, obviously you need to fully awaken and fully limit break a character to get their trust mastery, it is not the most important thing. The big thing is getting to the third level here. This right here. If you can get there with any character, the character is very, very long-term valuable. So if you got a brand new character, you kind of have to make a decision. Are you going to go for that character a fair bit? Obviously, you can get quite a bit of performance out of any character at lower levels still, but you really kind of want to get to LB3 to actually get, a fair amount out of this character into the future. And that's why getting to Limit Burst 3 is just so important. But yeah, you're also going to need to farm tons of blue orbs, tons of yellow orbs, tons of purple orbs. Not pink orbs, because as I've said, pink orbs are not so important, but getting a character, just how you develop your character and where you spend your resources, the more that you have for a similar type of job, the more rare types of orbs you are going to need to awaken their job type. So the more diverse you can make your team, the general better everything is. Just because it's a little bit easier on farming, you can try and farm for very specific things. Your results may vary, but it is one of the more potentially good strategies. As for other things, when it comes to developing a character, obviously getting equipment for them is important. That's just through recipes and whatnot, and maybe I'll make another video about that later. But something that we thought of in the early day, which was a very bad idea, was the barracks. The barracks was one of the things I started to warn players about because it lowers your faith, and faith affects how much you are healed, how much magic damage you can do. It also, I do think, has something to do with magic accuracy. I can't exactly remember, but as early days kind of basically taught me to never use this thing, and that proved to be quite false. That did prove quite incredibly false, because we thought that by lowering faith, you were lowering your healing and there was no way to recover it. Now that we found out that there is a way to recover this, it's actually perfectly fine to use this. As a matter of fact, throwing your physical in there is a pretty good idea still. And when you're done, when you have enough job points, just take them out and start raising their faith with Fina. So this is really important. Getting certain abilities can do a lot for a character, and I'm going to prove that right now. So let's go to the my party screen, and let's take a look at Christmas Ramada, level 45. And as you can see, her attack is 527. I've been farming a lot of job points for her for this one ability. Now, if I remove this ability, it goes down to 410. It doesn't seem like too much, maybe if you don't play the game, but 500 attack is starting to get up there, and it's a pretty nice attack boost to say the least. But yeah, job points, obviously, you can just farm a mass amount, and that is good for a couple of other things. There are two other things that we have realized are pretty important in playing this game. One of them is friendship in between teammates. The longer your team plays together, your characters spend together, the higher their friendship level goes. And if their friendship level goes up and they're, close to each other on the map, they perform better, and that is important. You do want to get, better performance out of your characters. And the last thing that we've kind of found out that is so important is espers. Now, espers are always important. If you played Brave Exvius, you know how good they are. But the thing that we didn't really know about before, and the thing we are starting to learn about now, is friendship. Espers, much in the same vein of Final Fantasy VIII, actually do have this, which is, friendship with characters. Depending on how long they have spent going with the character, they will be higher level, and that will give better bonuses to the character. So yeah, you have to think about a whole bunch of things when you are developing a character. Specifically going for high level abilities is quite expensive. Not sure if I have one that I can show particularly quickly, but maybe. Here you go. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Here we are. So as you can see, to go to level 20 costs over 1,000 job points, and it does cost a fair bit of gold too. Let's just hit that button just so I can get it, because it's an actual really good ability. But yeah, high level jobs or high level abilities, leveling up abilities starts to get very, very expensive, and gold will become a factor. Gold farming is something that you need to be doing in this game. But yeah, if you can hit that maximum, that Limit Burst 3 and job level 10, I do believe it is. If at worst, job level 12, which is still accessible from, basically, you can get all of the abilities on this map by simply hitting LB3 and getting your job levels high enough. After that, it's just kind of awakening the characters. There is a combination of needing to awaken the character as well as limit break the character to a certain point and then increase their job level, but that's all part of raising a character in this game. It does take a lot of time, but the end results are pretty staggering. Some of the characters in this game have already proven very strong. So far, the only content that really demands incredibly high level characters is PvP, which isn't overly surprising, as that's kind of the only place where, gacha games really tend to want high level characters, or at least it is when I think about Epic 7. So yeah, that's kind of the way it is. So if you're looking into characters, just to recap very quickly, plan out what kind of characters you want. Monto's obviously very good. Ishtola was good from the Epic 14 event, which is over now. But diversify your characters in terms of elements, rarities, and kind of plan ahead. Even if there are characters you want to level into the future, kind of hold back on them and wait for a little bit, and you can do it later in the game when these orbs become far more abundant than what they are now. As of right now, not overly worth stressing out about, unless you are really gunning for PvP, in which case enjoy the challenge of being a free-to-player to do it, or get that credit card out. I don't have a credit card, and I wouldn't show one on the video anyway. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you found it helpful. See you next time. Take care.